and see if there's... I'm going to check if the one that it comes up with is one that we did or not. I might scroll ahead a little bit and see, but we'll see. I'll just check in a second.
The home world and capital of humanity is entering a new golden age. The resource wealth of a dozen settled colonies and 100 industrial outposts flows back to Earth, fueling great works of industry, commerce, and art. The great cities are greening, as arcology skyscrapers and telecommuting allow more efficient use of land. Earth is still divided among nation-states, though all are affiliated beneath the overarching banner of the Systems Alliance. While every human enjoys a longer and better life than ever, the gap between rich and poor widens daily. Advanced nations have eliminated most genetic disease and pollution. Less fortunate regions have not progressed beyond 20th century technology and are often smog-choked, overpopulated slums. Sea levels have risen 2 meters in the last 200 years, and violent weather is common due to environmental damage inflicted during the late 21st century. The past few decades, however, have seen significant improvement due to recent technological advances.
Not sure how I feel about that, honestly, because it seems like there's, some good and some bad happening in the future that they've created for Earth here. I'm not sure how... the Systems Alliance does protect us on a galactic level, but there's, still countries that are stuck in the 1900s. There's a lot more environmental damage apparently going to be done in the later stages of this current century that we are in the real world. And it just... I don't know, man. But I didn't have to scroll down and see because I knew this one was the one that we were talking about. And that is there because we have to go to the local cluster, and we will be seeing Earth when we go to the local cluster, which will be in a couple of sessions, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but probably a couple of sessions. Let's see what's in the secondary for the Humanity and Systems Alliance stuff. Did we do this one? I don't think we did. No, this one's the one from that side quest that I just did on the Citadel with the families there. So we'll do this one. In the 22nd century, manipulation of the human genome became commonplace. Techniques of genetic engineering advanced to the point where the rich could custom-build fetuses that grew into stronger, smarter, and more attractive adults. Seems kind of like you'd abuse that power, but okay. In more permissive regions, custom-designed life forms and uplifted animals occupied an ill-defined niche between property and sapient being. So do we have talking raccoons now? I don't know how I feel about that. Give that guy a gun and he's just going to kill all of us. Travel the planets with unique forms of life brought an awareness that Earth's unique biodiversity could be lost if spliced and hybridized to gain useful alien qualities. The Sudom-Walcott Genetic Heritage Act was passed by the Systems Alliance Parliament in 2161. I think it was one of the first laws they passed, actually, if I recall. It imposed sharp restrictions on controversial uses of genetic engineering, but provided government subsidies for beneficial applications, such as Metagel, which we ended up then bringing to the entire galaxy. And it was a very appreciated gesture on our part. Screening and therapy. Most governments provide free assessments and corrective therapy for genetic diseases in prospective parents. This has nearly eliminated everything from cystic fibrosis to nearsightedness, which is really good. That's quite an array if you're going all the way from cystic fibrosis to nearsightedness. It's quite an array of things that they can eliminate. The earlier screening and therapy is performed, the more comprehensive the results. Though ideally performed on artificially fertilized zygotes in a lab, procedures are available for embryos in the womb and newborns out of respect for personal beliefs. I wonder if they can get rid of lactose intolerance. That runs in my family. I wonder if they could also get rid of the need for you to have your appendix removed, because that runs on my father's side of the family, and I just recently had that happen. Not this year, but the past year, and it wasn't a fun experience, I'll tell you what. I was out of school for 3 weeks, so I guess that was kind of fun, but then I had to do all the work involved, and I was in psychology classes, and that just turned into a mess. Anyway, enhancement. Improvement of natural human abilities is legal, but adding new abilities is not. Treatments to improve strength, reflexes, mental acuity, or appearance are permitted. Adding a tail or the ability to digest cellulose is not. Some genetic enhancement is provided for free to Alliance military recruits, but the average citizen must pay for the privilege. The process can take years to reach fruition in an adult. Now, if I recall correctly, Chief Williams actually had corrective genetic engineering on her fetus, because her family had a tendency towards nearsightedness, I think. Not 100% sure on that. So they corrected her eyesight in the womb, which is pretty damn cool. Or they did it, in vitro, and then they artificially inseminated her mother. But I don't know. Point is, she had her vision corrected due to genetic engineering. Speaking of engineering, artificial hybridization of genes from compatible non-human species with human genetic code is illegal. So you can't combine two different types of... I don't want to say this because it's probably going to get a couple of people pissed off, but you can't create furries in this environment. It's not allowed. Creation of designed life is broadly legal and mainly used for terraforming and medical applications such as Metagel, but sentient creatures are heavily regulated, and creation of sapient life is outlawed by both the Systems Alliance and the Citadel Council. So, I guess you could, in a way, create, say, Rocket Raccoon, who I was just referencing 5 minutes ago, but he's not legal. Like, he wouldn't have any rights, essentially, as a... What would he even be? A hybrid human raccoon being... thing? Whatever he is, he wouldn't have any rights because he would have been illegally made. So you'd essentially be dooming him to a life of, illegal activity and, piracy or privateering and that sort of stuff. He'd be a mercenary, which is essentially what Rocket Raccoon was anyway. But it wouldn't be a fun life for him. And it wouldn't be a fun life for you either because you'd be going to prison forever. So that would probably be bad for both of you. Anyway, anything else down here? Nope, nothing else. This is going by faster than I thought. Yeah, I'll read ships and vehicles in a minute. Let's go to planets and locations next. We did Pharos already. Let's do Novaria.
Novaria is a cool, rocky world with most of its hydrosphere locked up in massive glaciers. A privately chartered colony world, the planet is owned by the Novaria Development Corporation Holding Company. The NDC is funded by investment capital from 24 high-technology development firms and administrated by an executive board representing their interests. The investors built remote hot labs in isolated locations across Novaria's surface. These facilities are used for research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere, as Novaria is technically not part of Citadel space and therefore exempt from Council law. By special arrangement, Citadel's special tactics and reconnaissance agents have been granted extraterritorial privileges, but it remains to be seen how committed the Executive Board is to that principle. Given its unique situation, it is understandable that Novaria is often implicated in all manner of wild conspiracy theories.
So here is where the genetic engineering would not be considered illegal, although pretty much most of what is done on Novaria is probably considered illegal anyway, but most people turn a blind eye to it because it's one of the central investment capital areas of not Citadel space, but the galaxy, basically. A lot of firms go here for activities that aren't considered kosher by the rest of the council, And we would have gotten this information from Captain Anderson if we had asked him, but apparently we get this information from just asking that Volus merchant on the Citadel. But we'll get more information about Novaria from Captain Anderson when we go back there after we go to find Dr. Tassoni. So we'll get more information on that later. I think that's it for primary ones. I think we've only got the secondary ones left, and I don't think there's too many left here to do. We did that one. Space Combat General Tactics. That sounds about right. I think that's the last one, because I think it just turned off the mark all is red, so this is going to be a short episode. Anyway. Shells lofted by surface navies crash back to Earth when their acceleration is overwhelmed by gravity and air resistance. In space, a projectile has unlimited range. It will keep moving until it hits something. Practical gunnery range is determined by the velocity of the attacker's ordnance and the maneuverability of the target. Beyond a certain range, a small ship's ability to dodge trumps a larger attacker's projectile speed. The longest range combat occurs between dreadnoughts, whose projectiles have the highest velocity but are the least maneuverable. The shortest range combat is between frigates, which have the slowest projectile velocities and highest maneuverability. Opposing dreadnoughts open with a main gun artillery duel at extreme ranges of tens of thousands of kilometers. The fleets close, maintaining evasive lateral motion while keeping their bow guns facing the enemy. Fighters are launched in an attempt to close to disrupt a torpedo range. Cautious admirals weaken the enemy with ranged fire and fighter strikes before committing to close action. Aggressive commanders advance so cruisers and frigates can engage. At long range, the main guns of cruisers become useful. Friendly interceptors engage enemy fighters until the attackers enter the range of ship-based Guardian fire. Dreadnoughts fire from the rear, screened by smaller ships. Commanders must decide whether to commit to general melee or retreat to FTL. At medium range, ships can use broadside guns. Fleets intermingle, and it becomes difficult to retreat in order. Ships with damaged kinetic barriers are vulnerable to wolf-pack frigate flotillas that speed through the battle space. Only fighters and frigates enter close knife fight ranges of 10 or fewer kilometers. Fighters loose their disruptor torpedoes, bringing down a ship's kinetic barriers and allowing it to be swarmed by frigates. Guardian lasers become viable weapons, swatting down fighters and boiling away warship armor. Neither dreadnoughts nor cruisers can use their main guns at close range, because they wouldn't be able to get up enough velocity on the weapon in order to do anything to kinetic barriers. Laying the bow on a moving target becomes impossible. Superheated thruster exhaust becomes a hazard. So, this one's kind of hard to really follow because it's a lot of military talk, but let's see here. How can I translate this in a way of doing this? Shells, obviously projectiles. We talked about this before, I think, in one of the things about atmospheric reentry. Depending on how thick the atmosphere is, you can't really bomb a planet with a dreadnought or something like that, because if the atmosphere is sufficiently thick enough, you wouldn't get a lot of velocity on the shell of the bomb. But in space, projectile just keeps going till it hits something. It'll even keep going if it goes out of a star system. You know, it's actually that brings up a question. I wonder how much shells and rockets and stuff like that are affected by the gravitational pull of the sun in a specific system. I imagine if it's a sufficiently large mass star, it would cause problems for stuff like torpedoes and all of that stuff. But it depends on how close you are, I guess. I mean, most what am I trying to say? Most ships probably use like lasers outside of knife fight range, so like it's probably doesn't affect it as much. But yeah, dreadnoughts are not very maneuverable, but they have the most powerful cannons because their cannons have the highest velocity, and frigates have the slowest velocity weapons and highest maneuverability. The Normandy is a frigate, so it has a lot of maneuverability, but it needs to get in close in order to use its projectiles, basically, so it puts it at a little bit of risk. And that's why the stealth systems are so useful, because by the time they honestly know that we're here, we're already shooting them. So if we ever got into a space fight, that would be how that would go. But dreadnoughts basically start up the fight. They're way on the other side of the frickin'... Like, they're probably the distance from one planet to another in any given system before they start shooting at each other. And then they'll start getting in closer and closer and closer, and they'll launch their fighters. They'll launch, the cruisers will move up. The frigates will move up when they get into closer range, and then they'll keep going until whoever they're fighting is either destroyed or is forced to retreat. And usually, according to this, retreat into FTL happens at long range, so it happens before a fight really even gets into something that would be considered a battle of attrition or a really dangerous, like casualty-heavy fight. Most people retreat to FTL before that happens, because once you get to medium range, you get to the point where you can't really retreat in order, like it says. So, and then knife fight ranges, like I said, that's where all the frigates go to do their fighting. All the fighters go in there to disrupt kinetic barriers, allows the frigates to come in, shoot them with their Guardian lasers, and that just blows away armor. So even a dreadnought can be brought down by a collection of frigates. It's just a matter of getting to the dreadnought that is the problem, But you won't see a dreadnought ever coming into close range. Because if it does, they can't do anything to each other. They can't get up enough velocity on their weapons in order to shoot each other without do any kind of sufficient damage. So dreadnoughts are kind of like long-ranged only, and frigates are more close-range fighters. So I think I translated that sufficiently enough, and I'm pretty sure that's all the entries that we had. So yeah, that wasn't too bad, was it? It's a lot less than it was originally. At least it's a lot less than when we did it with that one time after we were coming off the Citadel. That took almost like 2 hours or something like that. That's going to be a fun collection of episodes to edit, I'm sure. I haven't gotten to editing any of these yet, other than the trailer. But I'm sure that's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun for me, editing together those first early Codex entry ones. Thankfully, the Codex entries slow down once you start to get to this point in the game, because you've pretty much explored most of the galaxy at this point, so we won't be reading too many Codex entries when we do. We'll be using crew conversations to fill the void, but other than that, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay. Reason why we're going downstairs is because I'm going to equip Rex and Garrus with their weapons that I just got, the Spectre requisition gear that we just got. I can look at the Rex officer and see if he has another pistol that I can equip on one of these two. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll figure that out. Probably Caden, because he comes along for more missions than Tally does. But we'll see in a little bit. But yeah, look at the damage on the shotgun from HMW. Like, that's ridiculous, man. 320 damage for 90 accuracy. The spread on that thing, it's like nothing at all, you know? It just shoots in a straight line now. Oh, man. Rex is so damn powerful, it's ridiculous. And Garrus, you are getting this one right here. And the damage and accuracy are very, very high on this one, which is good, because he needs both, thanks to the phaser grounds, so... that. Like I said, I'll look for more weapon mods as we go here. We'll probably get a bunch of them on the next few main missions that we go to. If we're fighting any Geth, we're bound to get more of them, and then we'll go from there. Is there anything else I want to do then? I think I might want to equip Tally with the a different pistol now that I got rid of one. Do I want to equip her with the Raikou? I think she can have Stiletto. I think Stiletto's fine. But I think Caden has Raikou 5, doesn't he? Yeah, he does, so let's equip him with Raikou 6. There we go. So there's that. I think that's all I wanted to do for right now. So I'm probably... Actually, let's go see if the Rex officer has the HMW line of weapons available now that we are a millionaire.
Looking for supplies?
Yes, I am.
You bet, Commander.
Let's just skip right through that. Yeah, he has them available now. So I can get another pistol if I want. He also has Omni Tools. Are these the one from... No, these aren't the ones from Armali Council. Sometimes you'll see the ones from Armali Council in here. I think it's a little bit rare, though. I'm not 100% sure on that. I would have to think about that, but... I don't know. We'll get some more Omni Tools eventually here. I think, excuse me. Jesus. I think we'll start finding some, to be honest with you, as we get going here, because I mean, we've got plenty of amps at this point, and eventually they'll start dropping from more technically I don't want to say advanced, more like technically sufficient, proficient, that's what I'm looking for, technically proficient enemies like Geth or like other Turians and stuff like that. They'll start dropping from them. I don't think we fight any Quarians, but yeah, they'll start dropping from them, so that's not as good as Garrus's current one. The Cypher Tool. I don't know if I want that one though, because it doesn't have med recharge on it. I prefer the ones with tech cooldown being their highest thing, and having... I mean, they should have everything, but having tech cooldown bonus is the most important one. And we'll get more of them as we go here, but I'm not too concerned with that for right now. So how do I want to do this? You have Stiletto 6. You have Raikou 6. I think you're going to get this pistol. And then I'll buy another one for Tally later, once we do... I think he restocks once we do a main mission. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe it's after a side mission, but we'll see in a little while. But I'll eventually want to get one for Tally, and yeah, that will be taken care of later. I'm not too concerned with that. What are all those boxes are doing there? Maybe Rex is storing his family's armor in there. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm sure they're not important. Pay no attention to them. But yeah, this was a relatively short episode. I might edit this into 2 episodes, just depending on how long the actual session went for. But we're actually basically done here. I want to go back to the galaxy map just to check on, see if I got any messages from Admiral Koku while I was busy doing that stuff. You never know, man. With his unit dead, he might want to work on that relatively quickly so that he can take care of business. Do we need Omni Gel while I'm here? Nope. We just need grenades, and we can't get grenades in any short order on the ship, so whatever. We'll work on that later. It'd be nice if there was a grenade restock on the ship, but there isn't, so whatever. Let's check up on the galaxy map, see if I got any messages from Admiral Koku, and then we will go from there. Okay, is that nothing? I'm not 100% sure if that means nothing. I'm gonna go to a different system and see if he is gonna do anything. Let's Let's see, where would I go if I wasn't going where he's going to tell me to go? Probably back to Artemis Tau. Let's head over there, and let's see. Yeah, why not? We can head inside of Gnosis right here, I think. Yeah, we'll travel in Gnosis, and then we'll see what he says. Because I think he'll tell me something if I go to a new system after talking to him. I'm pretty sure you have to leave the Citadel and go to a different system, and then he sends you a message and says, hey, I found information on the guys that were involved in the missing Marines thing. I'm going to check it out. So. And then we will follow him because I think we have a personal role in this mission as well. Because if my suspicions prove correct, the same people who got his unit killed are also involved in a bunch of other activities.
Message for you, Commander.
Yeah,
just came in over a secure channel.
Shepard, this is Admiral Kahoku. I found out who set that trap for my men. The ones killed by the Thresher Moor.
He sounds like he's in a hurry.
Get this message. It was a group called Cerberus.
Cerberus?
An Alliance Black Ops organization.
You're kidding me.
Top secret, highest level security clearance. They vanished a few months ago. Dropped right off the grid. Nobody knew where they went or what they were up to. They've gone completely rogue, Shepard. They're conducting illegal genetic experiments, trying to create some kind of super soldier. I don't have any proof, but I found the coordinates for one of their research worlds. I'm uploading them with this message. They're completely out of control. Somebody needs to stop them. I've done my part. Now it's up to you. This is probably the last you'll hear from me. Cerberus is after me now. I need to disappear before they find me.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Also, damn them, because Cerberus is the Alliance organization that Admiral Hackett was talking about before. They're the ones that were involved in this whole dead scientist thing. They were involved in a coup, and they were involved with Exogeny. They were the ones filling the pockets of Exogeny in order to go to Pharos to conduct experiments with the Thorian. So they are involved in quite a few shady activities, and I now do, in fact, have a personal role in this mission. They are in the Yangtze system in the Voyager cluster, and we are going there right about now because we, like I said, we have a personal role in this mission now. Cerberus has to pay for what they've done, not just for what they are doing with these illegal genetic experiments, but also for personal payback and venting for the fact that they killed my entire unit 6 years ago. So we are going to go and do this for revenge because that's the best lesson for the children on the next episode of Mass Effect. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.